Hello, Gear Simon of DesignCourse.com. Today we're going to go ahead and finish up this mega tutorial for our Every Vote Counts poster design in Blender. So yeah, if you enjoyed the series, check out DesignCourse.com. I'm doing a video tutorial every day of 2014. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I'm not making any commitments in terms of 2015. So if you're watching this now, who knows? Just check out the site and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, let's get started. All right, so let's go ahead and create a flag that kind of just looks like it's pinned against the front so you can't see that there's a toilet behind it, so you don't know that you're throwing your vote away. And so I learned the following technique from Andrew Price's How to Make a Towel video tutorial, so you can use Google to search for that. So I'm going to be doing almost the same exact thing that he's done, except his was showing how to make like bathroom towels. So the same idea applies to this. So I want to make a flag shape. So we're going to do this in the shape of a plane. So I'm going to hit 1 just to get the front view and add it right around there. 3 to the side view, add it right around there. All right, so Shift A, mesh and plane. RX 90. S to scale it down because we want it to be the same width as the front of this thing. So if you zoom up and hit 1 on your keyboard, we can hit SX. All right, and we also need this thing to be long. So S and Z. I'm just going to try to eyeball what roughly the shape of a flag might be. So right around there looks pretty decent, so let's move this over, or down rather. And I do want, when this cloth falls, I want some of it to be like laying on the floor. And real quick, I'm going to move this out front. Notice how the front of the bowl kind of just pops out a little bit. Do I want it to be like that, or do I not? Because I may just move everything forward, the box. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to right-click the box, and these legs portions, just holding Shift and right-clicking them. Take everything and move it forward just a little bit, maybe right around there. All right. Take our flag thing, move it back, and it does stick out a little bit, but that's fine. No big deal. All right, so I'm going to move it up temporarily. And this is also something I learned from Price's tutorial. Let's go into edit mode and hit Control R and add a loop cut right there and hit enter. And the reason we did that is because when you go to subdivide this, the squares would be rectangles, and it would be bad for the cloth simulation essentially. So hit A and A again to select all, then hit W on your keyboard and hit subdivide. And we're going to do that a few times. Right around there. So I did that 5 times. And the more you have, the finer that the cloth simulation will look. All right, so that's good. Let's go back into tab mode. And now what we have to do is switch from object mode to what's called weight paint. Right there. Yeah, sorry. And what we want to do is zoom up and add an area, and you could change your radius too. That's a little bit too big, so bring that down to 16 maybe, nah, 8. Yeah, that's a little better. It'll be pinned like right around here, and just click a few times. Actually, let me turn that up a little bit. And then right here as well. All right, so now let's go back into, into object mode. And for this cloth simulation to work correctly, we need to rotate this. So hit 3 on the number pad, hit R, right around there, move it over, and move it down, maybe right around there. And we don't want it to be intersecting the floor, which it is. So we're going to rotate it more by going back to 3, R, moving this up a little bit and around, just like that. All right, so now we could either at this point do the actual claw simulation or do the UV unwrapping of the map. So it's focused on the map first. So what we can do is, sorry, I'm going to change something up real quick. I'm going to hit 3, just temporarily hit R, and make this straight up and down, just like that. Hit 1. We're going to drag out the window here for the UV image editor. And I'm just going to hit new, call this flag 2048 by 2048, hit enter, and hit U, and oops, we have to go into edit mode, hit tab, everything's selected, hit U, sorry, not Y, and then hit project from view. Hit G, and that seems like to be a decent size right around there. All right, so now what we could do is UV, export UV layout. I'm going to do this in, where's the other ones? Yeah, right there. Flag-UV, and it should be set to all UVs. Okay, hit export layout. We're going to switch back to Photoshop. And I paused here temporarily to bring this up. This is from vecteezy.com, US flag vectors. You could probably just go to Google and type in vecteezy US flag vectors. You'll find the same page. And this is one that I found that has a flag, a very simple vector-based flag. And it's important if it's vector, that way it's big enough, we can scale it up to any size. And so you want to download that. I've already downloaded it. Once you have it downloaded, you can open it up in Photoshop. Or actually, I just pause and open up the zip, and you have a PNG and AI file. AI is for Adobe Illustrator. If you double click on that, and if you have Adobe Illustrator, you don't necessarily have to open it up with Illustrator. If you don't have Illustrator for whatever reason, you can, let me get this into view. You can just extract that AI file and then go to File, Open in Photoshop, and open up that AI file and just make sure the resolution's set high enough at like 300 or 400. So in this way, what we can do if you have Illustrator is just select it, Control-C to copy, and then just minimize that real quick, go back to Photoshop, and let's open up the flag UV, which I have no clue where that one is. I think it was like 127. Yes. Flag UV. And I'm going to give it a white background real quick. Control-Shift-N, enter for a new layer, drag it to the bottom, fill that. Control-V to paste a smart object. Now, let's rotate this, holding Shift up and down, and Shift to scale it up. Looks like I got pretty close in the size and dimensions at least. I'm going to choose right around there. And it's going to have to be just a tad bit larger. You can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to move it around. And so, yeah, right there. Actually, you know what we can do? Hold Shift. That's a pretty good size. Now we can see if we go to the Move tool, hit a place, that there's a little edge down here in which it doesn't go all the way. So all we have to do, we can right click and rasterize that and take this, right here, this rectangular marquee tool, left click and just select like the bottom portion, hit Control T and drag it down past the bottom. Now zoom up and that's good. So now hide that UV layer, save for web, and we'll call this flag diffuse. Now we'll go back to Blender. We'll switch to Node Editor, hit Tab to go back into object mode, hit New, Shift A, Texture, Image Texture, connect these two, open. We're at 126, I think. 127, there we go. Flag diffuse. And now, rendered, we got our flag. Sweet. All right. Except it doesn't look, you know, realistic. So we have to add the cloth simulation. So let's go to solid. Now let's right click, join area, 3 on your number pad, R to rotate it, just like that. All right, so let's save everything right now. It's a good idea because when I was doing this beforehand, I didn't save for a while and got completely screwed. All right, so over here, we want to click on the physics settings and we want to click on cloth. Now we also want to make sure these certain things are collisions, because if you were to play this cloth simulation, it would go through everything right now at this point. So we want this to be collision. We want this to be collision. This to be collision as well. I don't think it's going to touch these, so we don't have to worry about those. The floor needs to be collision. All right, so we got taken care of all those. And we want to enable pinning. Pinning basically means when we did that weight painting, it's going to look like it pins those to this board basically. Kind of important. So also we want to come down here, cloth collision, self collision, you want to enable that. Otherwise it's going to like collide through itself and it won't look correct. So make sure that's applied there. And I'm just going to go ahead and run this to see what it looks like in and of itself. Although spring, as Andrew Price mentioned, it could probably be changed to speed because it just changes how long it takes to get to its final form. 5 to 50. All right. And so now what we want to do, I drug this up, as you could see, just to show the timeline. What we can do is, oh, another one. 1 second. Yeah. Cloth cache. Change the N to like 100. All right. So now let's go ahead and hit Alt and A on your keyboard. Oh, damn you. It fell the wrong way. Right, pause that 1 second. And then let me hit pause. And the reason it did that, I forgot an important step. The pinning right here, there's like this blank empty area. If you click that, specify group. So now, if we go back to 0, hit Alt A, you can see it's pinned up there. And it's just going to go through this, slowly running. It's going to fall up against the portion. Now I'm going to hit pause at a certain point where I think it looks like it's kind of just hanging there without much velocity. Right there. All right, so now let's see what this looks like if we go to rendered. Looks pretty good. Like someone just threw it up there like an ass, didn't really care too much about how it's just falling off on the top, which is good. I want that to be like that. All right, and yeah, that's pretty good right there in and of itself. So what you can do to, well, one thing real quickly, let's say for example you wanted multiple flags or something. If we come out here to this modifiers section, if you wanted to apply this, you hit apply, and then that way you can't really edit it anymore in terms of the cloth. You can't rerun the simulation. So before you were to do that, if you wanted to have multiple flags up here, what you would do is take everything, take all your objects, and basically duplicate them. So I'm going to hit Control S to save this. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go back to solid, and I'm going to hit A to deselect all, hit B, and then just draw a selection around everything. Thing is this will also select the wall and the floor. So right click twice by holding shift, and also keep shift hold and right click the bottom there. So now everything is confined to there. I'm going to hit 7. I'm going to hit shift D to duplicate, and then hit X to move it over on the X axis. And I'm going to do it 2 more times. So Shift D, X, Shift D, and X. All right, so these simulations right here need to be run as well. So what we can do is right click on this one and let's see if we hit Alt A. What's going to happen is they're all going to go on at the same time. I'm going to pause this real quick. And actually, I kind of realized being that everything is duplicated exactly, they're all going to look the same if we just let them run like this. So what we can do is I'm going to leave, yeah, right around there will be good. I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to right click on this one and hit apply. All right, these aren't being paused, unfortunately. So this one is no longer something that we can do the claw simulation on. It's already done. This one is, so if I hit Alt A again, let these run through, hit pause on that one. We can right click this. It's already clicked though, sorry. Hit apply. And if we want to go back, just so we can get some different looks on the timeline. Like maybe that one's like messed up, hit apply. And then this one, hit Alt A. Oops. Hit Alt A, I'm gonna pause this real quick. And pause it right there. And then hit apply. Let's go ahead to rendered. Now we just got some different looks on this, so it looks a little bit more not repeated so much. All right. So now we've come quite a long way in making this look pretty cool, especially with the flag and the cloth simulation. All right, so in the original preview that I showed at the intro of this mega tutorial, I had 4 of these, except these ones didn't have the flag and it didn't have the toilet in the middle. I'm just gonna leave it like this for this view, where it has all of them are basically the same. And so we can get so many different angles of this that makes it look really funny. Actually, I kind of like the right angle a little bit, where we can get to see the your vote, the slots up here, the every vote counts, and the your choices of idiot 1 and 2. So yeah, I kind of like that. Probably right around this angle. So let's go ahead and I'm going to play around a little bit more with the wall. So if I right click that, we can go to the material section. Kind of play around with the lightness. And if we hit 0 on the number pad, we can get a camera view, which this is the view that gets rendered. So if we hit N as in nose, make sure lock camera to view is specified, hit N again to toggle that section off. We can zoom up here. Yeah, maybe right around there. I think that would probably be pretty decent. Now we have a space over here. And actually I might want to shift it just so it looks like there's like a never-ending row, kind of. Like that. All right. And we can come over here to the render settings. And right here for render, this is where we want to change it to be something that's kind of high. I'm just going to choose, I think 700 would be pretty okay. And if you're using the GPU compute, you can come down here to performance and change the tiles from 64 by 64 to 256 by 256. And also, if we find our camera, which is right here, it's what we're looking through right now, and click on it, and click on this camera icon settings, you can change some different settings about this. You can make a focus object. So if we want the focus object to be right here, we right click it, and this will show us which one that is, or the name of it rather. This is cube 041. So if we go back to our camera, focus object will be, oops, no, not that. Cube. Come on, 041. All right, so now that's the focus object. If you change the radius or the aperture size right here, that is what will determine how blurry whatever is not in focus is. So it could be something where you play around with it a lot. So if you change it to like 0.2, you'll see how blurry this looks like on this edge. I may try 0.1. So you could still tell it's out of focus a little bit. And this is in focus. So now what we can do is come out here. If you want your resolution to be large like this, that's fine. I'm going to choose 1280 by 720 just because that's the size of my videos that I record. And then make sure this is changed to 100%. And then go ahead and hit render. So of course, this is going to take a little time. So I'm going to pause until it's finished. All right, so probably after about 2 minutes, this is what this came up with. And unfortunately, we have somewhat of an issue in that right here on the edge, you can see it's blurry. And the focal point almost seems like it's over here on the left side of the box. Now this worked out well over here, but this is still, it must be the point right here. The fact that it's closer to us, that's making it blurred a little bit. So you may have to, if you want to save this, by the way, hit F3 and then it'll let you save it to your hard drive. Hit escape, you can get out of there. So you may have to play around with these settings on the camera in order to get this set up correctly. So I just took mine and I'm going to change it down to like 0.05, and that should be a little bit better in terms of the results. So there might be I don't have too much experience with screwing around with this, so I'm not exactly sure if there's an easier way to go about adjusting that so the edge right here is also in it, in the view at least. But yeah, no big deal. It should be fine. All right, so I'm going to go back right around there, and I'm going to render this again and pause. All right, and that looks much better. So I'm going to hit F3 to save this, and I'll save it in the latest folder if I can find it. Here are my project folders. This is all from 2014. One for every day. I'm nuts. All right, so this time I'm going to save this as a JPEG down here, and 100% quality. Final view. Save. I want to take it into Photoshop now. Also, I want to save this. And I'm going to close out everything, although I want to make sure, yeah, this is saved here. Close out. No, no, no. Okay, file open. We'll go to recent places, 129, and final view. And so now we can edit this and work with this a little bit in here. So if you get out the adjustments, you can change settings like the brightness and contrast. Whatever you think looks good, completely up to you. And as you can see, there's a lot of different things that we can play around with here. We have hue and saturation. Take that down just a notch. We have, what else is there? You can do a lot of cool stuff, crazy stuff too, like, let me turn that down. Threshold, kind of create like a cool sort of illustration of sorts, but I'm not going to do that, so I'll delete that. And let's see here, hue saturation, photo filter. This kind of adds a cool, you can add like warming filters and such. Some of them are a little bit out there. I kind of like just the warming filter right here. Makes it look like there's sunlight. And
If you wanted to leave it like this, you definitely could. You can also do something like this. Control-Shift-N for a new layer, hit Enter. Make it black for the foreground, and choose the fill tool, the paint bucket. Fill that all in, and then take the eraser tool. Get like a, the size of like 1400. And then just click a few times and create what's it called, a vignette or whatever the hell it's called. And there you go. I'm going to consider that, my friends, completed. Now, I just realized in the preview image, I also had like a little voting ballot right here hanging off the side. If you wanted to create that, it's almost the same process as the flag. You had a cloth simulation. You had a plane that's like kind of sitting just above, laying on the ground, and so you don't have to RX90 or whatever. Just add it above here. Make sure you UV unwrap it and then export it into Photoshop. You create the little ballot, and then you apply it in back in Blender. You add the cloth simulation, and there's a few other settings you have to make because you want it to fall. You're not going to add any pinning because it's not pinned up against anything, but it will just fall against this here on the side. So sorry I didn't get to that, kind of forgot, but yeah, this is pretty much very close to what we had in the preview image. And so yeah, we're already at 26 minutes, and that is it. So share with me if you wish. You can go to designcourse.com forums and share your image with this and what you learned. And make sure you subscribe at youtube.com for future tutorials. I'm recording a video every day of 2014. I've done it so far, so it's May. Well, I've actually recorded all these videos that you've been watching the past few days in one sitting. So right now it's May 4th, but it might actually be May 9th based on when I upload this video right here. So yeah, I've been talking for like I think a couple hours. My throat is killing me. But anyhow, that is it. So I'm kind of excited. It's probably my most complete project. I'm relatively a beginner myself, or intermediate at least. So this was fun learning. Definitely Andrew Price has helped a lot with his video tutorials. And you can check out his YouTube channel. Just type in Andrew Price in YouTube and you'll find that for a bunch of cool tutorials. And yeah, that is it. So I'm Gary Simon, designcourse.com. Subscribe here on YouTube, and I will see you with a new video tomorrow.